Hi, everyone, and welcome. Greetings to you this beautiful day. And I'm Janet Harley, your host of Faith in an Ever Changing World Encouragement and Hope Faith Story. And it is my pleasure to have with me today Cae Cordell. Now, there's on the post, you'll be able to read a lot of information about her. But I just do want to mention that has been a minister for 56 years, a teacher, college instructor, and house builder since 1971. Wow. This woman has done great accomplishments in her life, but oh boy, her growing up years were tough. Were very, very hard. And so she is going to share her faith story, finding God in the midst of incest and sexual abuse as a little girl. And so, right after this, thank you, Kay, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Janet.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate it.
Yes, and when we return, we will hear Kay's faith story. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Uh, Kay has written, as you see, like 15 books, and she's working on more. But one of them is Red Bird Phoenix, which is about her life. There it is, and you can certainly find it on Amazon. And she's written a screenplay as well uh, for it. Okay, Kay, if you will, please share your faith story with us.
I'd like to start out by encouraging anyone that's listening, if my story brings up too rough of memories, don't feel bad if you have to withdraw from the broadcast. But
Mm,
I was born into a family of incest in the hills of Arkansas, up in Madison County, and
mhm.
I cannot ever remember not being badly touched by my family. And it was a long, hard, difficult road,
Mm,
acknowledging and understanding what abuse is.
yeah.
And at 11 years old, I was able to find Jesus.
Mm,
And when I found Jesus, I found a power source that I could connect in and survive.
mhm.
The Lord has been my main frame of reference all my life. I was blessed to have godly grandparents who were ministers, and because of them today and their love that they showed me in the midst of all of this violence, I
Mm,
was able to find the Lord and to walk with the Lord. And in times of abuse
wonderful.
occurring, the Lord would let a red bird come and sit on my shoulder or in the window, and I'd focus on that red bird, which I understand now as a grown up, it was a symbol of the Holy Spirit that a child could understand. And the
Wow.
Lord helped me in those times, Janet.
Oh, that is wonderful. So
And
he was speaking to you even at an early age.
yes, I knew I was a sinner by age 7, and I didn't know what to do. We'd often go into a church. Uh, Religion was used to harm us children. We were abused in the name of God, but it
Oh
was not
my.
God. It was
Oh
not
goodness.
Jesus who they were
Right.
using. They used that. They would beat us. If we did something wrong, they would beat us, said we were doing bad against God. But out of that, I knew it was not, God didn't have anything to do, Janet, with what was happening to me. And
Right.
that's what I
Right.
hope the viewers will understand today, that if you're in a domestic violence or you're in an abuse situation sexually, if you're even a small child, you need to
Mm,
tell your teacher, the school counselor, or the school
yeah.
security office. Shake their hand until they grasp yours and understand you're trying to tell them what's happening to you.
Right.
God sees you. He's holding you when the abuse is happening. I like to picture God is holding the victim in his arms, lying beneath her or him while they're being abused and begging the abuser to stop.
Oh,
Abuse is a choice. Abuse is from the abuser is a matter of choice, Janet.
yes, yes.
And it's something they do for power, control, and manipulation. It has nothing to do with pleasure. And it's a generational thing. I went back in my family and done research, and abuse has been on both my father's side and my mother 6 generations back.
Oh
And it's
my
a continual
goodness.
thing that goes forward if we as the abused or the victim don't step forward and name our perpetrator.
Right.
Naming the perpetrator takes the power out of their hands and puts it in ours and into the court system and into for law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad thing is, churches need to be educated, Janet, so that they can recognize if someone in the church is harming a child.
Sure.
And in the ministry, I encountered attempts to abuse me for many years as a young minister. And I thought something was wrong with me. And I want to reiterate, there is absolutely no fault of any child, man or woman, who's been sexually abused. It is the perpetrator's fault. It is not
Right.
our fault at all. We're the
Right.
scapegoat.
Yes.
And God's love is his love for us. Because we've been abused, as again, God has nothing to do with our abuse.
No,
And in
he's
the
not about
ministry,
that.
I've encountered so many victims who are angry at God.
Mm,
But I'm here to say God's love is the purity of our heart. And I'd
absolutely.
like to encourage each victim to hear what I'm saying right now. If you've been abused, you can be spiritually made clean through prayer. And I've got a program in my book, When Forgiveness Isn't Enough, for church leaders to use. And it would go step by step to restoring what I call spiritual virginity, the right
Yeah.
to feel clean from the dirtiness of abuse. And
Mm,
that is so important and vital. Once the victim sees that, once I
absolutely.
realized that,
Yeah.
healing hit me like a bucket of water, Janet. It just went
Mm,
all over me. And I thought,
mm,
I can be clean from all that feeling of being dirty. And it
yeah.
is a dirty secret. And
Yeah.
little children are told that their parents will be killed, or their favorite pet, or that their parents will want them. That's all
Mm,
a lie. That's a
mm,
lie from the perpetrator.
mm,
So it's just, we want you to know there is freedom in asking God to heal you. And I'll say this in my counseling book, I teach the victim does not have to forgive the perpetrator because it is a sin against the very holy nature of God. At the Garden of Eden, when God breathed life into mankind, he put a holiness in us that no one was to touch us, that we have a choice about sex. And that choice is we choose in marriage, or we choose, if we go in the route of choosing to give ourselves to a boyfriend or girlfriend, these are things that I can say it's not approved of God, but it's something that God will forgive. But when a perpetrator forces his body on a child or older person, that is a choice that God says, no, you don't do that. It's wrong. You've offended me. And that
mm,
offense against God is what we are not understanding. But there
mhm,
is healing for the victim, and all she has to do is forgive herself and ask God to take care of the perpetrator. That's the dividing point. Once you
mhm,
ask God to take care of the perpetrator, you let go and let your anger be healed by God, and God's going to
mhm.
see the perpetrator is punished here or in eternity.
Yeah. Mm, okay.
Janet, do you have any question you'd like to ask?
Well, we have had a chance to talk prior to this. I think we chatted one day last week. But
Yes.
now you said that you have a screenplay. Uh,
Yes, I have a
and
script written and on
okay,
Redbird Phoenix, and I have a producer signed on. What we're looking
okay,
for is we're looking for a director and a
a
company that
director.
would like to
Okay.
pick up the rights to the screenplay and to make it. The screenplay is absolutely fantastic, and you would enjoy it. It will bring out exactly how the Lord led me from a small child till I was 18 and what God did in between. The Lord has
Mm,
really inspired the script. It's it'll be it's just not it's not a religious script. It is a script of survival, of how God
uh-huh.
helped me survive and escape.
Mm,
And
that's
I left home
wonderful.
at 18 and got away. But I'll share a little tidbit here. It took me years to write this book, Janet. I just knew my parents and
I'm
all these
sure.
people who had
Yes.
raised me
Mm,
were outside the door watching me write the book. And
yeah.
I would have nightmares. But once I got the book done, it was so freeing because I
Yes.
named names in the book
That's
of who
truth will set
abused
you
me.
free. Yeah.
Yes, the
Absolutely.
truth does.
Yes.
And
Yes.
fear is what the perpetrator uses to keep us from telling. You may be abused right now by an uncle, a babysitter, a church
Mm,
deacon, a pastor, your father, your grandfather, or a stranger.
mm,
Uh, all what they tell you is a lie. They don't
yeah.
own you. They have no right to your body, and they have no excuse for anything they're telling you when they're hurting you. And God wants them to stop. It is not His will, but we have
Yeah.
to remember man has free will and free choice. And again, you need to pick
Absolutely.
up, and I say what I tell myself. I said, you need to get up on your feet, pull up your big girl panties, and do something about your past. And don't let the
Mm,
past own you. And so I
yes.
made that choice. And the
I
growth, go ahead.
Yes, I remember you're saying violence does not define my salvation, but has spurred me forward to tell my story, so others might tell of their abuse and find healing.
Yes,
That's beautiful.
that's the entire existence. My goal, if I am blessed, I would love to testify in front of Congress to get a domestic violence constitutional amendment. We are
Mm,
desperately in need in that in this country. Every 68 seconds, while we're here on this program, Janet, someone is being raped in this
mm,
country. And Arkansas is the second highest state with rape victims in the nation. And
mm,
I want my voice out there saying to every adult, your children, your grandchildren, you and the future do not deserve to be disrupted by rape. Rape
mm,
survivors, we live with the guilt till we die.
yeah,
But I'm telling you, I've come to a place I don't feel guilty anymore. I didn't do anything wrong. And
yeah,
that, if we
exactly.
can
Yeah,
have people to understand that
yeah,
violence, as you said, it does not define me. In fact, it's been a platform from which I have walked from and preached from and learned for myself that the love of God is so much stronger and so much purer than
yeah,
abuse that I can live a happy life. I go to
yeah.
bed most nights now and never have bad dreams. Now, I
Good.
did suffer
Oh,
PTSD. I was suicidal and I had to seek
mm,
help. If you're suicidal, the past, you have flashbacks or you get upset, smells may upset you. You need to
right.
seek out a good counselor. I stayed in counseling 20 years. I do counseling now in my community and work with domestic violence
Mm,
victims and children who've been raped. I find
yeah.
attorneys that will take their cases. I work with them through court. My
Mm,
counseling book is used by law firms. If you're a lawyer out there, I will sign over the rights to use my book free for your victims that you're representing and
Right.
wanting to win for. We've won several cases against deacons and preachers in church with the book, and God gifted me to write the book. And I did my thesis for some of my degrees at Boise State University, and my professor told me, he begged me to write a book. So I did it, and I've got the second one started, Janet.
Well,
Looking,
good.
I want to
Okay.
go further. I want to understand why people who've been abused are soldiers, our armed forces, why that when they suffer PTSD and they have this disassociation, why they can't
Right.
read the Bible. And this is something I'm researching, working on now.
Oh my
But the
goodness.
script, if we can get the script made, it'll open doors. And I'm praying for God to open those doors, Janet.
Great. Well, we'll all pray with you for that, Kay, and thank you for being such an advocate uh, for the for folks that are abused or have been abused and are being abused. But I know that the Lord is going to open other opportunities for you to be an advocate for them. And
I'll go and speak. I tell people, pay for my food, airfare, and I'll come and speak. I've spoken on Army bases. I
uh-huh.
try to address issues of what we as victims have to understand. We have PTSD. We have to understand and gain resilience and
Mm-hmm.
look at suicide. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the three things that haunt domestic violence and sexually abused persons.
Right. Right. Okay.
Did,
Now I
are
have
you able to have Are you able to have questions from the audience?
well, I don't see any comments right now, but what I have done, Kay, is I have already put your website in the comment section
Yes.
on my Facebook page and on YouTube, and I will add it to my timeline um, after the broadcast. So,
Yes.
and I will also share this with you so that this broadcast, so that it can be on your timeline and so that people can see. But thank you again, Kay, for joining me today, for sharing your story, being willing to do that. And I want to thank everyone for watching. If you do have questions, please contact Kay. She is on Facebook and she does have the website. So you can certainly get in touch with her if you'd like for her to come speak or if you just have questions for her. I also
Yes.
want to thank,
Go ahead.
yes, go ahead.
All the information is on the website to contact me.
Good, good. Absolutely. That's great. I also wanted to thank Creative Motion Network for those folks that are watching a great network, family network that I'm a part of and proud to be. Have faith and look up, friends, where our help comes from. Thank you again for joining me today. Bye. God bless.
Thank you, Janet.